So right now my cup is really not running over because spring has stopped. So spring has completely stopped. So I figured as well make my lion diet update video now because got some extra time and nothing else to do. So slept well last night, really well last night. Ate the rest of the 5-pound ribeye roast in addition to the other 2 pounds I'd had that day. Just plowed through that in the middle of the night, woke up, went and ate more, woke up. Last time I woke up and ate a bunch of, was it like 4 and then 4 a.m. and then I just went back to sleep. Slept really well, and now I'm doing a 36-hour fast. Doing this on 5-ANs, had some caffeine today, some theobromine, sleep minerals, B-complex. B-complex really helps anytime you're taking stimulants. B-complex is awesome. Anytime you're doing heavy exercise, B-complex is awesome. People don't realize, but running out of B vitamins is one of the things that causes the boinking effect in sports, where your body just completely shuts down and you're like, oh, I can't go another step. It's like you hit the wall in running. You're like running, you're like, oh, I just hit the wall. I just couldn't take another step. That's B vitamin deficiency, and I found if I supplement B vitamins, I don't have that. Like, I still get tired, my muscles get sore, but they don't like run out of energy. So spring's still not. So I've just been doing a bunch of bodyweight squats, just normal bodyweight squats, push-ups, all variants of push-ups, but trying to focus on volume, really perfect form, perfect muscular contraction. Back bridges, back bridge push-ups, pull-ups, leg raises. Just doing the big 6 from combat conditioning, but doing it grease the groove Pavel style, just kind of however I feel like, throwing in a few grease the groove kettlebell swings here and there. And I'm thinking about working up to my old program, which was 300 push-ups a day. Every day, just do this. I think if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to do 100, mix in some harder variations, throw in some squats and stuff. I like this volume approach to push-ups, volume approach to bodyweight exercises with an emphasis on quality, throw in some kettlebell exercises too, throw in some dips on gymnastics rings for bulletproofing my body. Like, my body was so bulletproof, and now, like, I would just like fight people and just take punches and kicks and stuff, and it just didn't do anything. And like, I would just get like crushed by people who were like way bigger than me. It didn't do anything. Like, literally just didn't do anything. And I think that a lot of the reason for that was the way I was training at the time, because I still have the same strength, I still have the same mobility, I still have all that stuff, but now I'm just like a little bit more likely to get hurt. And people would say, oh, well, you're just older. I'm like, that to me translates to there's some sort of mitochondrial deficiency, and I think that this is the thing to do to fix that in my muscles, tendons, all those areas. Just do that, because it also gave me such a great base for powerlifting and for everything else. Like, just the push-ups, the squats, it really gives me amazing proprioception, amazing strength. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think it, but forcing yourself to do perfect form with these movements, and then working up to like Cossack squats, step ups, walking barefoot, running, one-arm push-ups and stuff, and working in Turkish get-ups and kettlebell swings. This is really a great way to condition your body to do stuff. It's like a lot of the time when I'm doing powerlifting style, when I was doing more powerlifting style workouts, I would find I was very, very, very strong in certain ranges of motion, but then I was like not strong in other ranges of motion, and I kind of felt fragile. And like, I tweaked my back doing powerlifting style stuff when I was 18, and then changed up the way I was lifting, but it's a different story. But I felt like fragile in certain ways, but also very, very powerful. But I wouldn't be able to like pull off that like as many consecutive big moves. And I kind of trained that ability through wrestling, like by wrestling, which is kind of its own bodyweight exercise type program. I trained myself to pull off very spectacular, explosive moves consecutively, but it was less effortless than when I was doing bodyweight training. When I was doing bodyweight training, I really had no issue pulling off moves and just continuously doing stuff. I just didn't know what to do or how to do it. But then when my technique got better and my strength got better, I still had, I had different difficulty, which was like endurance and actually pulling the moves off. Like, I was still using, basically what I'm saying is I was losing this freakish general strength ability, had this general strength ability, or if I knew what position to get someone in and that it would work, I could just muscle them. And I got this by doing body weight push-ups, pull-ups, handstand push-ups, leg lifts, one-legged squats, roll-up squats, some kettlebell swings and stuff, but not as well as I developed kettlebells as its own program later on. That was another incredibly successful program I did, was kettlebells, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is when I was like 11 through 16, it was body weight focused, and then 19 through 21, I was kettlebell focused. In the middle, I was powerlifting focused, and after I've been family focused, business focused, health focused, because that's a whole other story and watch my other videos. But basically, in terms of lifting, brief period of powerlifting where I got crazy numbers, and then still able to put up crazy numbers through kettlebells, putting up crazy numbers after just doing bodyweight exercises too. So it doesn't really seem like the powerlifting was more an expression of strength rather than where I built that strength. And then now I was doing kettlebells again, and then I was still getting injured, and I was like, okay, so the injury proofing didn't come from the kettlebells. It came from, I believe, bodyweight exercises. And I think the reason I didn't really get injured, again, I was only doing kettlebells for like 2 years at that point in time, and hadn't taken any time off, still doing like jiu-jitsu all the time, which is like its own body weight thing because you have to do all the movements. I was doing solo drills at the time, again too, its own movements. And now I'm like, okay, well, the solo drills are like body weight exercises. The kettlebells are amazing for intensity and for actually putting in power, because power is just work over time, so you can just reduce the time, reduce the work, and have the same amount of power as a power lift. And then doing it frequently allows my body to get conditioned to actually do it. So I remember like powerlifting, like I'd be tired. He's not to wait. I'm gonna videotape his car, so I want to get his license plate because there's no reason to share his license plate. But basically, kind of made me lose my train of thought. Oh, but basically though, when I was powerlifting, a lot of the time I would have very little energy. Like I would just kind of go in, I do my stuff, but it wasn't like I was like overloaded with energy. By doing the 300 push-up a day and like high volume calisthenic approach that I developed over like 5 years, 11 to 16, and 300 push-ups a day was a very successful program for me. I did that at the end. I think like really effective. Like I got crazy freaking strong doing that at everything. Like everything got stronger, and it was just like, and I was insisting on doing really good push-ups, doing sets of 5. I think it's just 60 sets of 5 throughout the day. I mean, you can bang that out. Like you can just spread them throughout the day, and you can bang that out. You just do it every day, pretty much. Take some days off. But I got like big chest development, big back development, big ab development, and all this stuff. But now I'm thinking, could work in squats, work in, I think I was doing like soccer at the time too, but work in, or like biking a lot at the time. So I was like, oh, I don't need to do lower body as much. I don't know my rationale was, but I wasn't doing the same thing for squats. But I work in squats, work in leg lifts, like hanging leg raises, work in back arch push-ups, work in handstand push-ups and those sorts of hand balancing. I'm doing some fingertip strengthening push-ups as well on the stairs. Work in these things, work in some kettlebell swings, play with it, maybe do more body weight exercises now, then work up to more kettlebells, and then do body weight, and then move back and forth, do a season of powerlifting. I don't really know, but this is what I'm doing. I'm just doing bodyweight squats. So I'll just be like I'm waiting for the spring. I've already done like a few sets, but I just go down. So these ones are my legs spread a little more. Now I'm doing like really pulling my knees over my toes. This one's slower and just kind of like greasing the groove, not getting tired though. Like I like Pavel's philosophy in Quick and the Dead, where he's like, don't get tired. Don't get like really sore and fatigued, because when you get really sore and fatigued, it just damages your muscles. It's really not, there's little benefit to that. You can train lactic acid threshold for activity specific things, but don't pursue lactic acid. Lactic acid is not to be chased. I totally agree. I think that lactic acid inhibits the ability to train. And back when I was first doing push-ups and stuff, I was like also exercising to lose weight. And because I was exercising to lose weight, I wanted to do as much volume as I could. So I was like looking at it like, okay, well, 300 push-ups. I actually got to that program pretty late in the game. Like I get to that around 15. That was just very effective for me. I'd been already doing bodyweight exercise for a long time, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do 300 push-ups a day. And even as an advanced calisthenics athlete, I found that very effective. So that's interesting. But I was like, okay, I want to, like, why did I select bodyweight exercise? Well, I didn't have any weights, first of all. But second of all, I was like, well, I want to be able to move a lot. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to jump. I want to be able to hike. I want to be able to bike. I want to be able to do all these activities. I played soccer at the time. I was in Boy Scouts at the time. I go backpacking with the Boy Scouts at the time. And I want to be able to do all these activities. So the reason I chose bodyweight exercises is I'm like, well, I can work up to a large volume of them. I can work in harder variations, but I can also just condition my body to do a large volume of work. And that will also just be very metabolically stimulating, and I'll lose weight. And like lose fat, gain muscle. Because like there's no conclusive evidence as to like what makes people gain muscle. I think strength gain seems to be a major driver of that, but there's lots of different things like tendon strength. There's like, you look at gymnastics, like they have great muscular development of the upper body, and they just do calisthenics and stuff. So you look for patterns, basically. And I was like, well, gymnasts have great muscular development, and they just do calisthenics. So if I do calisthenics for my whole body, I could probably supplement some weights in there. And I eventually supplemented in some weights for the lower body. Got kettlebells and do kettlebell swings. I'm like, that makes sense. And I was just taking a not getting injured approach. I didn't want to get injured still. Not going. Like almost 40 minutes to get here, so I need water. So I don't want to drive to the other spring because it's going to eat up everything I have to do today. I got to think of a better system for this. This is a major reason why I make these videos, because there's just problems you run into in life, and I'm always systematizing problems. So this is something you may relate to if you drink spring water. The fact that springs sometimes just stop for no reason. But so that's something I'm going to try to do later on, is find property with a spring, have a spring on my property, because just systematizing stuff. I think I like systematizing things. I like systematizing fitness. That's why I'm talking about this fitness program. So like, okay, this volume approach. And by doing that, I just conditioned my body to do a lot of physical activity. So when I went into wrestling, it was almost like I wanted to get into some sort of combat sport, because I was like, I have this massive capacity to express strength on an ongoing basis that just doesn't end, and like my body feels indestructible. So I wanted to do it. And now my body doesn't feel as indestructible. I'm like, well, I was doing kettlebells though. Why doesn't my body feel as indestructible? I'm like, well, I haven't been doing solo drills, which is what I was also doing when I was doing kettlebells last time. And it's been longer since I did that bodyweight program. At that point in time, it'd only been like 3 to 5 years since I'd just been doing bodyweight exercises. Now it's been like 10 years. So do the math, it's been twice as long, but without going through a phase of high volume, skill focused, low lactic acid training. Because I would always do low lactic acid, because if you burn your muscles out, you can't train the next day. And I noticed that actually inhibited my ability to gain strength. I kind of fell on a sort of grease the groove on my own. I would even notice that doing sets of 5 felt different than sets of 6, felt different than sets of 7, because I just go down, bang out a set of 5, bang out a set of 5. I realized I conditioned my muscles to bang out a set of 5. I conditioned my muscles to bang out a set of 20. It was like interesting. I was like, so I just kept on exploring this. I'm still exploring it with squats. I'm by no means an expert. Like, I don't know everything on these things. I don't know if anyone does, but I certainly don't think I know everything about these things. I just think these are interesting things that I've noticed. And again, it makes sense. Most of athletics is moving your own body. Most of life is moving your own body. You want to train to move your own body through all the natural ranges of motion. You want to be strong in those before you start loading up certain prime movers in your body. Someone once said, you don't want to load cannons on a canoe. I think that's a problem we run into a lot in sports, is we're loading cannons on a canoe. We haven't strengthened our body and then we're trying to strengthen it, but we still haven't gotten our body to the point where it can stabilize those movements, except in certain conditions. Then you're trying to remain stable. And I validated this with my own athletic training. This is what my own athletic training has showed me, that powerlifting and even kettlebell training, though less so than powerlifting, seem to be an expression of a certain strength built through calisthenics, because I'm not naturally the most athletic guy, but I train very consistently, very well, and very focused on this. And I notice a lot of natural athletes tend to, they've been moving their whole life. It's not like they have to go do a calisthenics program, but they've been doing calisthenics programs their whole life, if you get what I mean. Like they're just moving so much, and they seem to have a knack for the thing that it kind of becomes self-reinforcing. And that's what I discovered too, is that I did all the calisthenics and I got this ability, and then I went on and did a whole bunch of other stuff. It kind of just reinforced itself because I already conditioned my body to move competently through these ranges of motion. So then I would keep doing it, and that would keep strengthening my body to move competently through these ranges of motion. Then they just say, oh, he's a naturally athletic guy. But I always knew I gained this ability through calisthenics. Then take some time off, get kind of out of shape, get insomnia, not really knowing what to do. But just at least like not knowing how to maintain myself as an adult with insomnia and as an athlete. So then I had this whole downtrend from like 22 to like 24, where I just didn't really, maybe like 22, like 23, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu a bit more, but I was just like working all the time. That was my don't happy be worry phase, as Tim Ferriss says. It's like don't happy be worry phase. And I was just working my butt off that whole time. And then I realized that jiu-jitsu makes me better. Got back into training jiu-jitsu after like really like probably like 18 months to 2 years without really training at all. And without really doing that much athletic stuff. I'd walk around a bit, but I didn't really walk like consistently. And I remember like getting into walking daily barefoot was like, oh my God, really have to walk daily barefoot? This is such a pain in the butt. I can't believe I have to like walk around with my feet barefoot daily. Like my legs are getting sore. I hadn't conditioned myself to do this activity daily. I'd lost that inertia that I built. And I was like, oh, and I'm kind of realizing that as well. Like, oh, I lost that sort of body indestructible inertia from bodyweight training. Then I realized that like I just got back in. I could still do one-arm push-ups. I'm like, I can still do one-arm push-ups, but I can't do high-rep kettlebells. And I'm like, I realized like body weight skills are the ones that I retain the most. Like those are the longest lasting. It seem to make the foundation. And then kettlebell skills last, but they don't really last as long. And then powerlifting skills just seem like an expression of those. Like it seems like I could just go powerlift for like 2 years, and after about 2 years of powerlifting, I'd sort of hit what my lifts were going to get to, maybe 3 years, you know. But after some point, like your lifts aren't getting higher. Like they're just, unless you're like working your butt off and you're like, oh, I'm plateauing. And it's like, I got my deadlift over 500 pounds. Like I got my deadlift like stuck at 450 for like a while. And I was like, oh my God, my deadlift stuck at like 435, 450. And I kept deadlifting. It was just stuck. And then I stopped deadlifting and only did kettlebells, like swinging at 53. And then I went and deadlifted over 500 pounds. And I was like, huh, okay. Did it for like a year, just kettlebells. Then deadlifted over 500 pounds. I was like, okay. Then I was like, oh, kettlebells are the solution. And then this time when I'm coming back, I'm training with kettlebells. And then my rib pops, my arm pops. I get a groin injury from getting thrown. I got some back pain. And I'm like, so kettlebells aren't the solution. And I'm like, I was effing up people's SHIT back when I was just doing bodyweight training. Like I was just throwing people around. I just throw people around like the whole match. I didn't even know anything. I was just like, I'll just figure it out. Let me grab them. I was like indestructible. Like I moved back to bodyweight training, throwing a little bit of kettlebells, solo drilling. And then after my rib stops hurting, the rib is hurting a little bit earlier today too, I'm just going to start doing the live rounds again. But like, I don't think, like I won my first wrestling match ever by just headlocking the dude. And the dude was more experienced than me. Like, I controlled my brother. Like, I don't need to just keep on throwing myself at open mats, throwing myself at big heavy weights. Because I was lifting big heavy weights after just doing bodyweight exercises. I just did bodyweight exercises for like a few years. And I went first time I ever bench pressed, I was like 155 pounds, and I was benching like 195, 205. I think it was like 195 for 3 reps. Then another time I did like 205, but that was like not technically the first time that I benched. First time was like 195. So not benching, just doing push-ups. And I was like, just benching more than my body weight, and after never benching, and then like my bench at the highest ever was like 335 after just doing weighted dips on rings. But I started doing weighted dips on rings after doing tons of volume of just dips. I'm like, so I'm thinking about this, and I feel like really like the value is going to be like one arm push-ups, one arm handstand push-ups, one arm dips, one arm muscle ups, even one arm pull-ups, pistol squats, and then doing a whole bunch of volume to support that. Get huge mitochondrial benefits from that too, huge metabolic benefits from that style of training, huge mobility benefits. My body will feel way better. I mean, that's what little kids do. It's like people are like, oh, like you're young. It's like, well, what does that mean? It means you're closer to being a little kid. Little kids just run around doing bodyweight exercises all the time. So just do bodyweight exercises and you'll feel like a kid too. That's what I found. So do all that, sprinkle in some kettlebells so my hips are super, super explosive. And then just work on the skills that I've been training over the last 10 years in grappling. I mean, that's my plan for doing this. And I feel really good doing it. Like, I feel really good just banging out these squats and everything. I feel good fasting right now. Slept well. I'm taking CBD oil. That's helping me sleep too. I think just throwing in fasting and doing like taking like the caffeine. Actually, like I can't quit caffeine right now because I just am dependent on caffeine. Green tea, 5-ins occasionally, paracetam as needed, and chlorella as needed. I think my body's just healing. I think that ultimately a lot of the physical issues, still those cavities I have to get assessed though, but they stop progressing. So probably because I don't eat any carbs. So the cavities stop progressing, but they still need to be filled because there's still just holes there that aren't progressing. But that's my update video. So still gonna meditate today, still gonna walk today. I guess I'm pacing a lot. This is almost 30 minutes of walking. Wow, I've almost got my walk in actually while making this video. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Trying to get that spring water, but the spring is just not working. That would really suck because I'd have to drive all the way to this other spring, which is like, what time is it even? So like that would be my entire day. And then, yeah. But this is life, you know, c'est la vie.